Hey folks, it's Patriot Nurse. Thanks for joining me today. In this video, we're going to discuss the migrant crisis that isn't and why it's a humanitarian issue, but of an entirely different sort. So if you've paid attention to the news, there are currently a busload, or I guess I should say a flight full of illegal immigrants who have been docked at Martha's Vineyard, who were sent, I believe, through money from Florida, from originally San Antonio. And you've been seeing this more in the news, of course, that conservative border states border states, Florida, Arizona, and Texas. Again, Florida is a border state, particularly when it comes to the Gulf. They are the outer edges and the defense perimeter of our nation. And so what's been happening is you have a bunch of illegal immigrants who have been crossing the border under the full knowledge and permission of the feds, who have given them asylum papers and have allowed people of various different national origins to claim asylum and then come in the United States. And then, of course, after the feds clear them with the little paper stamp that they do, they become the state's issue, meaning the state's issue to house, the state's issue to pay for as far as dealing with the medical issues, etc. And you're going to hear a lot, of course, people say, oh, no, like they're federal tax dollars that go for this. Where are they being distributed? Under which systems are they being utilized? In the state systems, and in particular, Texas, Florida, and in Arizona and the other border states. So it's interesting because the ones who are crying loudest about this right now are the Democrats, the Democrat Party, and liberals and leftists. They're saying, oh, the Republicans are using these people as political pawns. Isn't it so terrible? These migrant-hating white Protestant males who want to control the world. Look what evil they're doing. First off, if anything is happening right now, it's that the rabid leftist states and places where the elite who like to tell everybody else how to live and then go off and have their own little rules for them, rules for thee and not for me, the people who want everyone disarmed but have their own private security details, these people live in little enclaves of DC and Martha's Vineyard and all these hoity-toity places that essentially are little nation states in and of themselves where the laws for everybody else don't apply. So I find it really interesting that Florida and Texas and Arizona have been shipping these illegal immigrants to places where effectively the policies support them. If anything, it's asking for accountability, on the part of these liberal and leftist governments that say, you guys say that these people should be given full voting rights and all these services and we should be paying more taxes. Here you go. You take them. Let your infrastructure be the ones to deal with it, instead of people who have already been dealing with this for 30 and 40 years in some places, dealing with the strain of illegal immigration. Y'all deal with it for now. So the Democrats, of course, are the ones who are saying that it's so anti-human to do this. So these poor oppressed people, I got news for you. People made a choice to come here. And they made a choice to cross the border illegally. They made a choice to leave their home. Under whatever circumstances it was, there was a choice, there was a risk assessment, and they knew that they were doing it illegally. The people who are most peeved about this in my life that I know are my friends who are first-generation immigrants, who are also Hispanics, by the way, because after all, Google Calendar says it's the start of Hispanic History and Freedom Month, yay! My friends who are the most peeved about this are my Cuban-American friends and my Argentinian-American friends. They can't stand this, man. They can't stand it. You know why? Because they came here the right way, they paid for things legally, and they live far below their means, and they've never had their rent paid for them for a year, courtesy of whatever programs that Washington says our tax dollars now are going for. They pay some of the highest taxes there are because they're naturalized citizens. So the people who this hurts the most are the people who actually came here the right way. And you know what's funny? The people who came here the right way overwhelmingly do not vote leftist because they understand the value of hard work. So the reason why you're hearing all this screeching right now from the Democrats and from the bastions of liberalism up north is that the people who they want to go ahead and plug and play into their Democrat platform and switch red states to purple and purple states to blue, they can't do it when they're shipped up past the border into happy liberal territory. They can't do it anymore. So this is entirely a humanitarian issue. But the ones being exploited here, yeah, they may be the migrants, but it's not the Republicans doing it, and it's not the conservatives doing it, and it's not people for border security and voter ID who are doing it. It's the Democrats. It's the people in their little leftist bastions and their little fiefdoms of hypocrisy that want to sit up there in the little federal enclaves with their private security details and tell everybody else that they have to fund all these illegals that are coming in, they have to fund all their health care, that their wait times in the ER are going to be tripled because other people who are never going to pay for services rendered are going to get ahead of them. It's also, by the way, the taxpayers' fault, and people who are now having to take 3 jobs, gig jobs, because they can't find regular ones to try and pay for rent in a housing market that has been inflated by federal money, and also the tendency and the vacancy for affordable housing is being gobbled up and swallowed up by people who are not here legally in the first place and who the feds are subsidizing to be here and to destroy the populace and the voting aggregate. So friends, this is a migrant crisis of a different sort. It's a horse of a different color. And it is that people who have, for whatever reason, made the choice to come here and who are showing up, usually with very little idea about the American political process, are getting fast-tracked and beelined into voting Democrat and into flipping purple states blue and red states purple. And when that doesn't happen, and the local governors and the border states that have primarily a conservative constituency, particularly in the rural areas that are disproportionately feeling the brunt of this at the border, when people have had enough and they're telling up north and in leftist bastions, take your people, put up or shut up, they don't like it. Whenever you call a liberal on their hypocrisy, it ends up defaulting to McCarthyism. Admit nothing, deny everything, make counter accusations. And unfortunately, that is the nature of the left. They will loudly protest and label and name call the opposition and accuse them of doing exactly the things that they themselves are guilty of. Are you surprised? Nope. So friends, in the midst of all this, you're going to see a reassertion of states' rights versus the feds. The 10th Amendment did not just evaporate. What's happening is because the Fed, it's funny, because the things that they're not supposed to do, the powers that are not their purview under the Constitution, that's what they end up usurping. And the things that they are permitted to do, namely border security, they suck at. They completely have abrogated and abdicated their responsibility. They don't care. Anything that involves them getting a tighter grip on people and destroying the lives of natural-born American citizens and reducing their purchasing power and their dollar into nothingness and inflating away their national debt that they've incurred, that's what they're going to do. So I would anticipate, of course, that in the times coming, you are going to see a reassertment of state rights, and you're also going to see more calls for a convention of states, which in my opinion is the last best chance that we have for any type of peaceable resolution that maintains the union. If you're a fan of the union, I got news for you. There is no other option than a convention of states. I personally am not a fan of the union. I do not think that keeping somebody in a marriage or a contract against their will is in any way, shape, or form healthy. And unfortunately, that's what happened here. But it didn't by any means. The word was it Jeff Sessions or Jeb Sessions? I forget. So, I think he said it. He was like, oh, this issue was decided at Gettysburg. Nonsense. The issue of people to maintain sovereignty over their political process and to have a government that is representative of their constituency, that does not have an expiration date in the 1860s. That is a current event. It is a current issue. It will always be an issue whenever you bring up consent of the governed and a representative republic. The constituency has to elect to tolerate the government that it has. Elsewise, it is illegitimate. So what we're seeing is that over the past couple of years, the confidence in the feds has dropped to an all-time low, which leaves the states precious little else to do but say, you guys suck, you can't keep your promises, you're not financially solvent, and we're tired of dealing and being the executionary force, the actionable step arm of your policy, and it's hurting our people, and we're tired of hurting our people in the states. If you want it, then here you go. It's not going to go away. And the states' issues, I think, the 10th Amendment issues are going to continue to show up again and again and again. Corruption in D.C., in my opinion, is not something that we're going to fix with the political process as it is. No amount of voting in federal elections is going to fix the abject corruption the federal government and everything associated with Washington, D.C. The only way to deal with it peaceably from a legal standpoint is to drastically curtail the power of the feds, to check that power. And the Convention of States is the last best way to do that and still maintain the Union. Elsewise, you're going to end up ultimately having states that are saying enough is enough. We are tired of our citizens paying taxes to you and taking our money, and we can't even defend our own territorial sovereignty in the cases of Arizona and Texas for sure and certain. So this is a migrant crisis, a humanitarian crisis of a different sort. People are pawns, but they're pawns of the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party doesn't give two craps about these people insofar as if they're in a blue state, they don't care. They want them in red states to turn them purple and purple states to turn them blue, and that's all they care about. I hope this was helpful for you today. It might have gotten your dander up a little bit, but if it motivates you to get prepared for times ahead and to have your bases covered for uncertain political seasons like what we're in, then I hope that it did that. If you did enjoy the video, I hope you'll subscribe here to the channel, Patriot Nurse. You can also support me on Patreon, subscribe to our cryptocurrency and PayPal. I got links down below. If you want to train with me, you can train with me online or in person. Get your medical basis covered. Online, got a 4-hour class. It's $129. It's $129 per student, which is a much more affordable option than traveling nowadays and going on the road. And so that's why I made it available for folks. If you would like to train in person and you like to network with other like-minded people, in class and in person is the way to go. So I got Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and then Keller, Texas is coming up, the Dallas area. So if you're in Texas, if you're in the border area, that class is going to be a solid one for you to attend. Very, very like-minded people there. You can find that schedule at the patriotnurse.com website. Folks, hope it was helpful for y'all. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. For now, it's Patriot Nurse signing off, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.